to the Unleash Success Podcast, where we break down the secrets of success to give you real tools and strategies that get real results. And now, here's your host, Corey Corpodian.
Welcome back to the Unleash Success Show. This is your host, Corey Corpodian. 2017 has been quite a year, and in today's special episode, instead of doing the usual interview, I decided it's a good idea to reflect back on all the lessons that I've learned in 2017 so that hopefully we can use them together to take more action and get even better results in 2018. 2017 was a big year for me where I shifted and finally started the podcast. I started doing more motivational speaking. I started doing different business ideas and really pushing myself to get outside my comfort zone. It took a lot of hard work. I made a ton of mistakes and quote unquote failures. But luckily, I learned from those mistakes and failures, and I got a lot of great lessons out of them. So for today's episode, I'm going to go over my top 10 success lessons from 2017. We'll go over things like taking imperfect action, monotasking versus multitasking, emotional fitness, the power of mentorship, and community. So let's jump right in with imperfect action. What do I mean by imperfect action? Well, a lot of people just never really take action. A lot of times they prepare or they think about what they want to do, but they don't actually take the action. So I say imperfect action is better than no action at all. Yes, you want to prepare. Yes, you want to practice. And yes, you want to do as much as you can to be your best. However, how many of you have a goal, a dream, or something that you want that you haven't taken any action on to get? You think about it maybe all the time. If you're like me, maybe you even thought about this for hours or days without ever really taking that first step. This show is dedicated to helping you and I take more action. Yeah, I said me too, because guess what? Everyone has a different level of success. And whether it's just starting a business, losing that first 5 pounds, or finding the good in life, I want to learn from successful people to become the best version of me as well. So this podcast is for both of us so that we can both learn to take better action to get better results. But how many times have we never taken action and all of a sudden we wake up 2 or 3 years later and we go, what happened to my life? That was like me. When I first got the idea for this podcast, I literally created everything. I created the artwork. I wrote down who I wanted to interview. I got all the equipment, and all of a sudden a year went by before I actually ever reached out to anybody to interview them. I recently looked at the people that I wrote down who I wanted to interview, and guess what? 6 out of the first 10 episodes are people that I wrote down on that list literally over 1 year ago. If I had started a year ago before this, I wonder how far along I'd be. The key is we've got to take action. You know what? You can't wait for perfection because nothing in life is ever perfect. In fact, trying to be perfect is the ultimate way to fail because you know you're not going to be able to be perfect. And guess what? The minute you think you're totally prepared and you finally start that business or you finally start working out or you finally reach out to people and take action, you're going to realize there was a lot of stuff you didn't know. I recently started a business test, and in that test, I was going nuts with how many things I just didn't know would pop up. And the whole thing was I had to get started. I just had to do it. And that's the key. Take the action. Whether you fail or succeed, you get a result. Get a result, measure it, and improve upon it so that you can get better. Once you start taking action, it becomes addictive. And we're going to go over another lesson, which is about building momentum in a minute. So lesson number 2 is you've really got to define your success and set goals often. See, the key word here is often because unconsciously, our definition of success can change unless we really remind ourselves of it daily. Our goals might not be serving our greater purpose anymore, or perhaps we have new important goals that supersede the old ones. Success comes in many forms. When I was a kid, I used to think success came from having a good career, a big house, and a nice car. I still enjoy those things, but I've learned success is not just financial. Initially, my goal was to make a lot of money, but I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make $30,000 a month. And then I realized that in order to achieve that, I had to trade a lot of my time for money. And at a certain point, the money didn't seem as important as the time I was giving up. So I had to redefine success and what it meant to me. And I had to redefine my goals and remind myself of them often. Success wasn't just financial. Success to me is growing, learning, and becoming a better version of me every day. I am a human being and I make mistakes. But as long as I grow, as long as I get better, then I am successful. And that is in every area of life, not just financial. It involves my relationships with my friends, with my family, and my intimate relationship. It involves my physical body, my mental and emotional fitness. It involves my time and how I spend it. And it involves my ability to enjoy life and give back. In fact, I created what I call the Wheel of Life to help me measure important areas of life and evaluate how well I'm doing in them. You can download this same Wheel of Life at unleashsuccess.com/Wheel of Life. I realized after earning more than $30K a month, my finances were great, but my time, my relationships, even my health, and of course my enjoyment of life was just way down after doing this because all I cared about was making money. So I set a new goal that I still want to make $30,000 a month while having more free time so that I can dedicate that time to build and foster my relationships, to take care of my body, my temple, and my health, and to enjoy life to the fullest. This year, I've been working really hard to create that lifestyle. Am I making as much? Not yet, but I will. It all takes patience. And in the meantime, my quality of life is immensely better. I've dedicated some time to taking vacation. In fact, I've taken more vacation this year than I ever have before, but only because I work so hard on the days that I'm not on vacation that I'm able to free myself up. In fact, I'm so blessed that right now I'm wrapping up a 2.5-3 week vacation with my girlfriend where we traveled around Southeast Asia. We went to Vietnam, Ha Long Bay, and Hanoi. We went to Thailand. And right now I'm sitting in this room overlooking the ocean and it's absolutely gorgeous, all because I started to create better goals for myself. I started to block out time for vacation and I realized how important it was to do that. So if you want to dedicate more time to being able to hang out with your friends, go to the gym, enjoy life so much more and have higher levels of passion than ever before, I suggest that you go to the Wheel of Life and at unleashsuccess.com/Wheel of Life, because it was only after I evaluated my life, redefined what it meant for me to be successful, and then set new goals appropriately that I was able to really understand what was making me happy and create the life that I want to live. Now, lesson number 3. After you've set these amazing goals and you remind yourself of them and they're relevant to you in your life right now, they're truly important to you in your life right now, you've got to realize one lifelong lesson that constantly seems to teach me over and over again, and that is patience. Every time I'm working on something new, I want it to be done right now. I'm so intense. I want to be, get it all done. I'm an overachiever. Let's go. And I realize patience. I still work my ass off to make sure everything I can do in my control gets done as fast as possible. But the truth is, building anything worthwhile takes time. Building anything takes patience. I recently watched an episode of Shark Tank about a young man who worked really hard to create an app. He talked about how he'd been doing it while he was in college, while playing basketball, how at the airport he'd be working on it, late nights he'd be working on it. He said he put blood, sweat, and tears into making this app, hoping to get a shark to help him take it to the next level. Unfortunately, the sharks didn't see the potential of this app just yet. They appreciated his hard work, but they had to admit to him that everybody works hard. that sometimes we work really hard and we don't get the result we want. We've got to actually work harder. We've got to be patient. It doesn't just take months or a year. Sometimes it takes years. You see, people often underestimate what they can do in 5 or 10 years, and they overestimate what should happen now. I'm not going to pretend that my patience hasn't been tested time and time again. When going after my goals, I find patience is continually taught to me, probably because my personality, again, is I'm that go-getter, and I believe you got to work hard to get what you want. But after working hard, life doesn't give you what you think you deserve. It gives you what you earn. And sometimes we can put a lot of work into something and never get the result we want. Patience is not complacency. I don't want anyone to confuse the simple fact that you must work hard. But if you want to accelerate your path to success, you've got to be 100% dedicated to your goals and intensely focus on it. You've got to work as hard and as fast as you can to achieve your goals sooner. And one of the biggest things, though, is you cannot repeat the same mistakes over and over again. You've got to take action, but you got to learn from it. You got to be flexible in your approach, because the only way to get the result you want is to keep trying new things. And I realize, though, that as we're working towards our goals, a lack of patience can make you feel bitter and upset. It might even make you quit before you achieve your goal. Over time, your efforts, though, as you take more action and more action and more action, they will compound on each other, making it easier to achieve your goals. When I first started working out as a kid, I could barely bench press the bar. Now, I can bench press 135 easily, 225 easily. I've even done 315. I can't do that right now, but I've been able to do it. The reason was because I consistently work on it. I've been lifting weights for 20 years. Now I lift more for longevity than strength, but I love to do it, and I've consistently done it. It gets easier and easier for me to stay in shape because I'm so consistent with it. Our actions compound on each other, and time over years can make those actions build even stronger. I don't want you guys to think that you should be where you want to be. I used to feel like that. I used to feel like I should be further ahead in life. I should have more money. I should have more freedom. All my goals should be accomplished. The problem was lack of patience. Instead of should, I had to shift my perspective. Time is a funny thing. Do something you hate for an hour and it can feel like an eternity. Do something you love and an hour can fly by in seconds. Therefore, time is relative to you and the experience. And if you enjoy the process of achieving your goals, time becomes irrelevant. Because then you enjoy the process, you never give up, and eventually you will achieve your goals. You'll be so patient because you're loving what you're doing. And guess what, guys? If you're not loving what you're doing, change it. Because the time is going to pass whether you like it or not. So you might as well have some interesting and amazing goals along the way. And when you have patience, you never give up, you never get discouraged, and you can enjoy the process that much more. My mission with this podcast is to reach 1 million downloads. Currently, we've got about 1,000, and I've got a long road to go. I made this huge mistake of not posting episodes as in the first 8 weeks like I should have. I told you guys that before, and sometimes I miss the time. I want to post it on Thursday or Friday and it ends up being Saturday. I've made so many mistakes, but I've got patience. You know what? I'm doing the best I can with the resources I got, and I'm going to do even better. I promise you that in 2018. On the road to 1 million downloads, I enjoy this. And I've got patience enough to realize that as long as I will never stop putting out episodes, there is no way I will ever fail. Hey, and if you want to help me reach that 1 million downloads, I'd love for you to share this with your friends on social media or even in person. Now, that brings me to how do we stay motivated when we've got patience? How do you stay motivated for not a month or 2 months, but for a year or 2 or 10? And that is lesson number 4. Pain will drive you more than pleasure. There are 2 fundamental stimulus to life that we all respond to: pain and pleasure. These arise from evolution and survival because in caveman days, pain meant death and pleasure meant life. If your stomach hurt because you hadn't had any food in 2 weeks, that pain meant death. But if you eat food, that pleasure meant life. Unfortunately, the way our nervous system is wired hasn't changed much over the years. Therefore, anything we do is either to avoid pain or gain pleasure. You know, when most people set a goal, they focus on the pleasure of achieving that goal, what it will give their life, why they want it. And I believe so strongly in this, and it is so important that you've got to have something important that means something pleasurable to you, or else you'll never continue to do it in the long run. However, today, so many people are faced with distractions from life, social media, smartphones, email, that their why, that the pleasure of achieving their goal isn't strong enough to actually motivate them into action. So I say this, focus not on why you want something, but why not achieving it will make your life worse. A lot of people look at social media and they get FOMO. Man, that guy's life in those square boxes on Instagram looks so amazing. He travels, he does this, she does that. They're living the dream. Don't get FOMO from watching social media. Get FOMO from not achieving your goals. Fear missing out on not achieving your goals. Think about why not achieving your goal will cause you pain in the future, and make that pain feel like it is tomorrow or even right now. Not 5 or 10 years ahead, but literally today. That if you don't start taking action today, the pain of not achieving that goal will be so real. Now, why do we do this? Because if you don't take action on your dreams today, those 5 years or 10 years will pass, and you'll wake up wishing you did. You'll wake up wishing you started that business. You'll wake up wishing that you went to the gym and lost weight. You'll wake up wishing that you had said, I love you to that person you care about. Now, let's go to lesson number 5 in the top 10 success lessons for 2017. And that is simply momentum moves mountains. You know, they say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with just a single step. And once you've taken that 1,000 steps, your momentum can actually move mountains. See, if you're having trouble getting started, remember to focus on what you'll miss out on if you don't do it. FOMO of not achieving the goals. Now, when you start that first step and you actually take action continuously, those actions start to compound on each other, and suddenly impossible tasks now seem possible. So once you start, keep going, keep the momentum, because an object in motion stays in motion, but an object at rest stays at rest. And I find the biggest momentum shift happens when we come home from work and sit down on the couch. Turn on Netflix. I mean, guys, today there's even a category called binge worthy on Netflix, so you could sit there for hours and hours not pursuing your goals. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that I don't watch Netflix too, just like you. Man, when Stranger Things 1 and 2 came out, my girlfriend and I would come home, cook dinner, binge watch 2-3 episodes every night for a week. It was a great show, what can I say? But after watching 2 to 3 hours of it, we were tired, sleepy, lazy, and didn't feel like doing any other work. Now, that's okay every now and then. Enjoy life. But if you have goals that you're not accomplishing, then don't stop moving. After a week of this, it was time for us to get back on track and boom, come home and go straight to the computer to do more work. It's easier to stay moving once you're already moving. The easiest way to create momentum is to never stop moving. Now, one of the best things that I do that really helps me is pretty much every Monday, I'll write down the top 3 to 5 goals that I want to accomplish for the week or even just the day. That way, I'm hyper-focused, and I look for things. I believe in the 80-20 rule. You guys all know this. And if I want to do an action that gets me 80% of the results that I want, I got to figure out which ones are my priority. But when I look at my list, I always see that one of the actions is a very quick one. You know, something like writing a few emails. And another action might be something like, you know, editing the podcast or working on my book. And that might take a couple hours. So what I do is I do the easy, fast goal first, something that takes 10 to 15 minutes. I say, I'll just sit down, I'll do that. And then I start to build momentum because I'm taking action. All of a sudden I jump. I'm like, you know what? That big goal is only going to take me an hour. Let me bust out an hour of work. And so I start working on it. And before I know it, I get on a roll. And 3 to 4 hours later, I've accomplished most of my daily tasks. So that's how you build momentum and keep it moving. Now, lesson number 6, if you guys saw the Beach City Sports interview on YouTube, we talked a little bit about this, which is monotasking over multitasking. You know, some people brag how they can multitask. Well, I brag how I can monotask. Why? Well, there's been studies that show that our brains struggle to truly multitask. In fact, they show that multitaskers are just really good at switching quickly between tasks. Sure, once you do something a million times, your unconscious mind takes control, freeing up your conscious mind to do another task. For example, you can literally walk and talk. That's good because we don't want people saying hi to someone and tripping all over themselves. But when it comes to working on new projects, when it comes to learning something new, getting better at something, or achieving a new goal, multitask doesn't seem to benefit us. I find multitasking slows down our efficiency, prevents momentum from truly building, and we don't do the task as well. Think about how many people multitask at work, answering phone calls, emails, working on a spreadsheet, whatever it is. How are you able to get anything done when literally nowadays we get a new email every minute? So I believe in monotasking. This is the process of doing one task and one task only. When I do this, I'm able to put 100% of my energy and focus into the task. Without distraction, I'm better able to solve problems. I can build momentum quickly. And of course, I accomplish the task faster. I also believe, along with monotasking, that you should do immersion, where we completely immerse ourselves into doing something for hours at a time. Monotasking helps me immerse myself in the task, which I believe allows me to accomplish more in a shorter period of time. I'll give you an example. I spent 5 years trying to learn Spanish in high school and college, doing it an hour a day. My Spanish, admittedly, is awful. And yet, people study abroad for 3 to 6 months and become completely fluent. 5 years, and I've got nothing. Versus someone else, 6 months, and they've got everything. They're completely fluent. This just shows how immersion and monotasking is so powerful. Now, I know what you're thinking. We all have so many goals, so many parts of life. In fact, the wheel of life I told you about earlier has 8 different areas of life to focus on. How can I monotask 8 different areas of life? Well, recently on that interview, I went into how monotasking allows me to separate those 8 different areas of life. You know, they always ask me how I can work on so many projects at once. My answer was simply monotasking. See, what I do is I dedicate a block of hours or even an entire day just to podcasting, then an entire day to writing my book. It's even better when you have multiple days in a row. But if you have to, if you've only got a couple hours, you know, sometimes I'll do an interview in the morning and then I'll block out 3 hours for editing. For me, the minimum block time is 3 to 6 hours. That's because the first hour is really spent kind of organizing and building that momentum. You start by taking the first step, you're taking a little bit more action, but as your momentum builds, you're able to more intensely focus and take better actions. So after 4 to 6 hours of intense focus, you usually need a quick break. But monotasking has been one of the biggest tools I've used to switch gears so quickly this year. From building a business to motivational speaking to working on the podcast to fitness to relationships to family to traveling to vacation planning, all that stuff is part of life. And if it can be overwhelming if you don't actually sit down and focus on one at a time. I believe monotasking allows me to accomplish a lot all at the same time by shifting gears from one area to the next in blocks of time. Now, number 7 on our list of 10 successful lessons from 2017 is emotional fitness. Guys, I talk about this all the time, and I believe it is really the single most powerful tool we can wield. When I first started training my own emotional fitness, I didn't even realize I was doing it. It was only after 6 months of daily training that I saw in the real world the results of emotional fitness. I doubled my income. I was able to buy my dream beach house, and I met my amazing girlfriend of 2.5 years. That's when people started asking me how I did it. That's also when I realized I had a message to share with this world, and that message is emotional fitness. Emotional fitness is the ability to control your emotions instead of letting them control you. It helps you understand that you can train your mind and emotions to control them so that they can empower you towards your goals. Using emotional fitness, I found that success isn't just hard work, but it's how you respond when you fail. How to respond when life kicks you down after you've done everything to be at the top. How do you respond? Because it will happen, and sometimes it happens a lot. But what do? Do you give up or do you step up? Emotional fitness is the answer. Using my training, I've been able to push past limits I never even knew I had to accomplish more in 2017 than I ever accomplished in my life. Of course, that also meant that I failed a lot in 2017, but with each failure came a lesson. And using emotional fitness, I strengthened my mind to find new ways to be successful and to continually take action. If you'd like to learn more about emotional fitness training, please send me an email personally at Corey, Corey, at unleashsuccess.com. I'll send you a video and a 10-day challenge free so you can strengthen your mind and your emotional fitness to make next year the best year ever. I wish we had more time to go over the emotional fitness training program, but it literally takes a couple hours just to go over the basics. So email me at Corey at unleashsuccess.com and I'll send you a bunch of information and we can keep in contact so you too can make next year the best year ever. Now, number 8 in the top 10 lessons is really the power of team. A lot of times people like to talk about how they're one person, they're the solopreneur. As one person, we can only do so much. Each of us has only one mind, 2 hands, and 24 hours in a day. Elon Musk, Richard Branson, and Oprah seem to accomplish more in one lifetime than millions of other people combined. And yet they too only have 24 hours in a day. Time is the only thing equal to all of us. And in order to accomplish more in less time, we need to build a team of people to help us. This year, I spent a lot of time working on my own, spending hundreds of hours and late nights working all by myself. I finally formed a team. Forming a team allowed me to focus on what I'm good at. And I just want to take a moment to thank a few people. Special thanks to Taylor, aka DJ Taylor Cade Keddington, for helping produce these podcasts and making the audio sound great. I also want to thank my video and audio recording team who have traveled with me far and wide for these live interviews. Thank you, Julie, Jeff, and Zach. Thank you to Chelsea Gonzalez for helping me create an amazing website. And of course, I want to thank my girlfriend who's put up with me as I've pursued this podcast and for always supporting me and putting up with my never-ending pursuit of human excellence, even if it means spending 3 hours of our vacation recording a podcast. I also want to thank the people who have agreed to be interviewed on this podcast. They've provided such an amazing content. All of them in past, present, and future have been so amazing. And of course, I want to thank all of my family, all of my friends, and every one of you who listen to this podcast. You are all the reason that my dream has wings. Through your help in spreading this podcast, I've been able to reach more and more people every single day. And that right there simply shows how powerful building a team, building a community is. And I just want to say thank you. So moving on to lesson number 9, mentorship. Mentorship is probably one of the biggest lessons that I truly learned in 2017. And it is definitely one of the best ways I have found to unleash success. If you have taken action, you've even defined your success, set goals, stayed focused, and worked on your emotional fitness, but you just can't seem to get where you want to be in life, mentorship is the answer. What you want from a mentor really, I think, are 3 main things. 1, they have done what you want to do. If you want help building a business, find someone who's built a business. If you want help losing 10 pounds, find someone who has lost 10 pounds. If you want help getting results in life, find someone who is good at getting results. All my life, I've had mentors. I used to say I was lucky, and I definitely am lucky to have them in my life. Don't get me wrong. But I started to ask myself, how is it that I always find such amazing people? And I realized in the beginning, I had to ask for help. See, I'm always looking for someone out there who's done something more than I have, who's better at something that I want to become better at. See, no matter how successful you become, there's always someone who has more success, whether it's in business, health, or relationships. So when you ask for help, people want to help you. And I just say this, don't be afraid to ask. There's someone in your life, someone you know, or someone who knows someone who can help you, but it really starts with you asking for help. And that, to me, has always been the biggest benefit to finding these amazing mentors. And if you're still struggling, there's a few podcast hosts who have talked about SCORE, which is a mentorship program. Just Google it, take a look at it, and there they offer free mentors. So that's in itself a resource if you can't find anyone in your own life. Number 2, about being a great mentor is they've got to be honest and supportive. Your mentor should be honest with you. See, honest is good, but you got to be honest with the good and with the bad, right? There's no point in sugarcoating the bad and giving yourself a shoulder to cry on. If you screwed something up, the best way is to get some honest and supportive feedback. You might have family members who support you and give you this feedback, but the biggest thing about a mentor is that they have to have an objective viewpoint and be honest. If you've got a family member who really has been giving you honest feedback, sometimes, they don't want to tell you something though, because they're afraid that it's going to hurt your feelings. Like, maybe you're a loving and supportive mom. And if she's not being honest with you, you're not going to be able to grow. So unless your mom is honest with you and supportive, then maybe you should pick a different mentor. Because in order to grow, we have to see things for how they really are first. Then we can make them better than they really are. Of course, if you've got that friend or family member that boasts how they're always honest with you, but they're brutally honest with you, and they remind you of your mistakes often, listen, there's no point in being so brutally honest that you tear someone down. There's no point reminiscing about your mistakes. Learn from them and move on. Ultimately, you've got to get honest, objective feedback to improve yourself and have it come in a supportive way. Now, there are always different ways to say something, but someone who fully supports your dreams and goals and wants you to succeed at the highest level is truly an amazing gift to have. Most people think they have it until their friends and family start saying things like, oh, money isn't everything, is it? You don't want to have too much muscle. Or do you really want to eat prep meals all day? Don't you want to enjoy life? Don't you want to stay balanced? They do this out of love because as you change, if they don't change with you, they fear losing you and your relationship. But if they hold you back, then they don't support you. People always want you to be successful, but not more successful than them. It makes them feel uncomfortable. And they don't really mean to do that, but sometimes they don't even realize they are. So finding the right mentor that feeds your unlimited ability to be successful is truly a gift and one that everyone should look for. I've been so blessed in my life to have some amazing mentors that constantly push me to think differently. They tell me reality. They tell me to push myself. They don't let me quit, and they keep supporting me positively. They give me honest feedback, but they support me positively. Now, number 3 in a mentor is they have to upgrade and expand your level of thinking. Over the past 10 years, I've had mentors in every area of life, from dental school to competing in men's fitness to relationship and, of course, business. All of my mentors have had incredible results in their own life and have been so helpful in helping me achieve the same results. However, recently I realized just how important it is to have a mentor who thinks at a different level than you. In the past year, my mentor for business has exposed me to such a different level of thinking than I ever imagined that I'll never be able to go back to the old me. If you're only surrounded by the same people all the time, you're never going to learn anything new. So you've got to have a mentor that can expand your level of thinking. Because of this mentorship this year, I now understand and envision business ventures in a completely new way. I better understand how to scale businesses, how to design and find a niche market, and create even more success in my life. Ultimately, the goals you want will come and go, but upgrading your thinking and expanding your mind will stay in everything you do for the rest of your life. And that is what a great mentor truly does for you. In fact, guys, I'm so passionate about creating better mentors for everyone that I've decided in 2018 We're going to get back to coaching one-on-one. We're going to build a coaching team so that we can help you. They are going to have real life experience in what you want to achieve, and they undergo additional training to get the highest standards of Unleashed Success. We've got a few people on our team. If you are interested in coaching, you can reach out to us at results@unleashedsuccess.com. Just send us an email, because our goal and our mission with Unleashed Success is to give you real tools and strategies that help you get real results. I too will be offering some one-on-one mentorship to a select few people as my time is limited. But if you're interested, please write in the subject line results with Corey, and I'll reach out to you personally. You see, guys, we've got to build ourselves up and we've got to grow together. And that leads me to my final point, which is community. Man, part of building this podcast has been building a community of people, interviewing these amazing, insightful people to learn their tools and strategies, as well as sharing that with you guys. All my life, I've been hungry for more out of life. But it wasn't until I became emotionally fit that I truly unleashed success in my life. And as I grew, I realized there was only so much one person can do on their own. I've talked about the power of team, having a mentor. And finally, we're going to talk about building a community of people who support each other and help each other to create massive success for all of us. But first, guys, I've got to apologize to you, because in this regard, in 2017, I failed you. I have done little to create this community. But in 2018, it is my mission to create this for you and for me. I want all of us to be able to participate in a group discussion where we can learn from each other and grow to new heights. There are literally no limits of what we can accomplish, especially when we work together. I don't want to be the only person at the top of the mountain. I want all of us to succeed. I was trying to think of the best way to deliver this community to all of you. And I think the best way might just be a Facebook group. Or, if you got a suggestion, I'm open to it, because I really want to bring this all together, but I think a Facebook group might be the best thing. And if you'd like me to invite you to the group, just reach out to me on Facebook at Corey Corpodian, and I'll keep you updated. Listen, guys, 2017 was a great year. And these 10 lessons have allowed me to expand every area of my life, from podcasting to business to my relationship, and even, yes, my health and fitness. There were a lot of sleepless nights. There was a lot of emotional struggle, lots of ups and downs, failures and successes. But in the end, I worked hard every single day to become a better man. For that, I'm proud. But 2017 was just the beginning. As we are only 10 episodes into my 100-episode commitment, I hope that you stay with me for this journey and we can unleash success together. If 2017 wasn't the year that you envisioned it to be, if 2017 you didn't get the results that you wanted out of life, please reach out to me, Corey at unleashedsuccess.com, and we can grow together. We can unleash success together. That's it for 2017, guys. I'm going to be bringing it in 2018, and I hope that you bring it with me. Thank you. If you guys enjoyed the show and learned something of value, the one ask that we have is please go subscribe. If you'd like to leave us a 5-star rating and review, that definitely helps us get our message out there. Because each week I'm going to interview amazing people, and I want to be able to give you more and more tools and strategies that get you real results. Feel free to connect with me on Facebook or Instagram at Corey Corpodian, or just visit the website at unleashedsuccess.com. Remember, knowing is not enough. Knowledge alone is not power. Action is. Because action is the only way to get the results you want in life and truly live the life of your dreams. So go take some action, subscribe to the podcast, and get ready to unleash success in you.